गं गणपतये नमः। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः। वक्रतुण्ड महाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ॐ गं गणपतये नमः।
Jayadhari ma'am सबको we welcome all of you. Ma'am, आपका we welcome you. Ma'am is from Amritsar and that's wonderful. Sir, Ajay sir, good evening.
Good evening.
Deepa ji, good evening. Mummy gratitude. आज का जो टॉपिक है it's all about prevention, self-care. I was thinking about it शुरू करने से पहले कि सेल्फ केयर को कैसे डिफाइन करें. What is prevention? I think कई बारी बहुत emphasis होता है on everything that's outside, everything that looks good outside. But self-care is how you feel within, how you are feeling within your inner world. It all starts there. It all starts with the self. Are we giving it enough importance? Are we doing that? We'll figure it out today. Ji, Mummy.
I think that's a great answer to begin with from Dr. Sandhu, because she is in preventive healthcare in a big way as well. Would you like to respond, Dr. Sandhu?
सत श्री अकाल एवरीवन. हाँ जी, मैं अमृतसर तो आई है, मैम जी शहर तो आई है. एंड ਜਦੋਂ I got married into Amritsar, ma'am was always an inspiration, and I think to be in the room with the distinguished panelists is a rare honor. And what I think when I go out from the room, this is going to be a learning more than anything else. I'm going to go back with much more to gain than what I can give my views here. And Saina, this is a beautiful platform. You have made conversations which are the need of the hour, because wherever I go into the schools, they just say one thing: ab zamana badal gaya hai. Children are very different, and we need to get together, crack our heads together, and come out with a solution. And it's also great to meet, I think sent him a request today on LinkedIn, Ajay Kumar sir. I'm sorry if I'm taking the wrong names. And I think there's a change. From Praveen, we have Deepa here. So hi, Deepa. And it's wonderful to be here again. And I keep saying that, wonderful to be here today.
Thank you, Ji. Thank you. Ma'am, to see, why don't you share your thoughts on self-care and prevention? And the world that exists inside us, how it all starts from the self.
Yeah, so more than ourselves, I feel Jura Sadasar of the family system is one, it's like a sphere. And what is happening now in terms of self-prevention, when we go as doctors, what we see, the whatever the child is manifesting is actually a reflection of where the child comes from. See, when we see the oral cavity, it's just not the oral cavity or the teeth. It is talking about whether the child is well cared for, whether the child is, has that discipline, the confidence, and so much more, whether the child is binge eating, whatever is happening. So, and more than that, self-prevention, we as doctors can, impress. But what is important, it's the parent who comes in to play a role. It is actually reflecting the parenting. And I always say that we have gone from, elite schools to the mid schools to the border villages. Now, where I come from, Amritsar, we have a situation. We have border villages. We have places where there are situations which are, we recently had floods. And then there are places where drug abuse is also a part of the story. So it also reflects where the child comes from an utter neglect to there might be a very affluent parent or a very affluent household, but if the parent is missing, and now the situations are from joint, very loving joint families, we turn to nuclear families, and from nuclear families we turn to I call it a lonely child syndrome, where the mother, we can't blame anybody in these days. Even I've been a working parent. The mother is very involved in her career. There are pressures. The dad is involved, and they might not be living with the grandparents. Like I'll tell you, in my case, when I got my coveted fellowship invite, that coincided with my daughter's 10th exam. And you can well imagine the dilemma. Do I not go and take the 3% of dentists in the world award? Or should I be? So my mother pitched in, my mother-in-law came in, and my father and father-in-law were very important part of bringing up children. When I had my conference, a national conference, my daughter had her MBBS third year exams. But always there was covered. And believe me, back then, the dadis, the nannies, the tais, the chachis, we needed a village to raise a family. Now, an alone child, we might be very affluent, and the child looks like, the biggest problem that's coming in is vaping. It is coming in households which are affluent. They have everything. But why does the child need vaping? Is it the pressure to look cool, or are they kind of following their parents who also think it's cool? So how will that parent who themselves are indulging help in prevention? I kind of compare them to an uneducated parent in a village where they do not have an idea that what is the child going through. Suppose there's a daily wages mom. She goes, to earn her living. She's tired. She has to do ghar ka kaam वापस आके. To a mother who's a big professional but has to attend a party. So there's this child there. And where do we learn from them? What do we turn to? We turn to the social media. We turn to the cool, they send out those rings of vaping. I've seen it in Canada also. Children are competing with each other to see whose rings go higher. So then what is happening is prevention is now become complicated. Also, it doesn't go across all the spheres. There could be a single parent where a parent is posted out or a parent is not alive. There could be a very, very, a household where there are two very competent professionals living alone. Or there could be a parent who is a drug addict, a parent who is an alcohol addict. So many problems. So I think we need to also take those people into consideration, and real mindful parenting and prevention will come if we all get together, if we become the village for these people who need help. We, the teachers, the educators, and empty nesters. I always feel I'm an empty nester. They have all the love, they have all the energy. The children have flown out. They can come in. And the old age homes, I've always said that, has the most loving nanny dadis and the lonely children. What a beautiful, they could be book reads. They could be, we need to go back. We need to shift to the left. We doctors say that, when cancer develops, it's because the body's shifted to the left. We need to go back now. बहुत आगे बढ़ गए कई चीजों में. अब थोड़ा सा पीछे जाके देखें कि तब हम इतने खुश क्यों थे. हमारे पास शायद पैसा कम था, but we were very happy. I had a very happy, बचपन, very happy. So that is what I feel.
जी मैम, it's a beautiful thought, but मुश्किल काम है. Getting people
बहुत.
together बहुत मुश्किल काम है मैम, क्योंकि ट्रस्ट का बहुत बड़ा फैक्टर है. There's a big factor of trust.
Also,
There's a very-
हमसे अब मैं हो गया ना. Earlier we were hum, now we are मैं. Everywhere it's me, mine. Earlier it was us, them. Now it's me and mine. वहीं पे रुक गया काम. So that is what I feel.
और एक और बात, मैम, and I would like to discuss this with all the elders and Deepa ji here. हम ना आजकल एक सब कुछ सोशल मीडिया और AI और टेक्नोलॉजी पे डाल रहे हैं. That's not the real reason मेरे हिसाब से. आप अमृतसर से जुड़े हो, मम्मी दिल्ली में, मैं पूना में हूँ, सर अबू धाबी में, दीपा जी चेन्नई में. हम जुड़े हुए टू टॉक अबाउट अ टॉपिक. ये कैसे हुआ? दिस इज टेक्नोलॉजी. ये तो हम
Yeah.
चर्चा ही नहीं कर सकते. सोशल मीडिया पे इतना अच्छा कंटेंट है जो हमें इजीली आज की दुनिया में मिल सकता है. इट इज अगेन द पावर ऑफ चॉइस. मैम, इश्यूज कुछ और है. इश्यूज आर वी आर मूविंग अवे फ्रॉम आवर कोर वैल्यूज. Lust, greed, anger, jealousy, comparison, competition, dishonesty. We'll have to talk about these things to our children. It's not only about AI and social media and the phone. So what about talking to them about these real human values? Real human
I-
values.
It's about all coming to time. How much time? There's so much one can do in a day. How do you time it all? I think that's the key. How do you time it? Where do you find the time for what you really want? And then do you factor it in during your time? That's it.
मम्मी, टाइम तो ठीक है, पर साथ में उसके साथ प्रायोरिटीज जोड़नी पड़ेंगी. क्योंकि जो हमारी नीड होगी, हमारी वांट होगी, वी विल ग्रेविटेट टुवर्ड्स दैट. We will gravitate towards what we are looking for in a day. Then we will plan our day. वो भागा दौड़ी में भी हम कोर वैल्यूज को प्रायोरिटाइज कर सकते हैं. जो भी हम कर रहे हैं, आर वी डूइंग इट विद इंटेग्रिटी. हमारे अंदर रेज तो नहीं है, एंगर तो नहीं है, जेलसी तो नहीं आ रही, ईर्ष्या तो नहीं आ रही. These are the core values. सर, आपका क्या ख्याल है सर? अजय सर, what do you think?
Yeah, a thought I often reflect is that health is no longer only physical. Like children today carry emotional stress, academic pressure, digital overload, and changing lifestyles. So preventive healthcare now includes mental and emotional well-being also. So as parents, we sometimes focus so much on performance and outcomes that we forget to ask a simple question: how are you feeling? A child who learns to understand emotions, manage stress, and communicate openly is equally practicing preventive healthcare, according to me. So emotional resilience, healthy routines, sleep, movement, relationships, and self-awareness are all connected. In many ways, emotional hygiene may become just as important as physical hygiene for the next generation. This is what I feel.
जी सर. मैम,
Let us see what Deepa says.
yes. Deepa ji.
Yes, Sanju, yes. I think
Thank
one thing is that I completely agree with Dr. Sandhu, who said in the beginning that it's all shifted from we to I. And I must say, like, in a good way also, because we have seen our parents who have given up their own health to bring us up, Okay, so there they were not thinking about I at all. Is it good? It's debatable whether that is how it should be. Today, there's a lot of awareness around how an adult, खास की एक औरत, how a woman should also take care of her own physical and, like Ajay sir rightly pointed out, the emotional health as well. So, is it wrong for a parent or woman or a mother to prioritize her own health as well and say, I need to do it? For example, I take care of two kids, I have two boys. So I stretch myself, I find myself stretching beyond myself to take care of their emotional and physical hygiene. Okay, both of those. But at some point, I have found myself I hear myself telling that, maybe I should stop, let him do it on his own. Let him, if he doesn't do it, it's okay. One day he doesn't do it, it's fine. I'm done with it, because I need to prioritize my own peace, my own health. I'm sure every mother who's listening to me would have done that and later felt guilty about doing it also. So the whole discussion is also about, is it really, that shift from we to I? In a way, it's good, but it's again about balancing and seeing how we can incorporate and what we can give to our parents. One question I'd like to ask is, each of us on this panel here today would have taken one hygiene lesson from our parents: personal hygiene, health hygiene, emotional hygiene, something from our parents. If you ask me, I'm someone who's never in my life taken aerated drinks, be it Pepsi, Cola, for that matter, even coffee, tea. Because somewhere in my mind, my mom has told me that this is not right and it's not good. And I've seen her not taking it. So I've imbibed that from her. What is that one lesson as a parent we are giving to our children? That is important. So instead of stretching ourselves and forgetting ourselves, if we can structure, in a structured way, if we can think, what is the one thing that we'll regularly make them do in such a way that personal hygiene becomes automatic and not forced, before the other part becomes addictive. So it's very addictive to move away from hygiene. So before that part sets in, if you can actually make it automatic and organic, the hygiene part can be organic, I think half the job is done.
So that's where I came in. I'm sorry, I'll talk about it.
Ji, ma'am.
That's
Ji,
why I
ma'am.
said it takes a village to raise a human. There are teachers, there are friends, there are everybody. So Vapis, that's what I talked about. And also one thing, a lot of people are mistaking mindful parenting with helicopter parenting. So my children keep telling me no helicoptering. That is when you're hovering over them. There's a balance between helicopter parent and a ghost parent, a physically or an emotionally absent parent. So let's be mindful parents. If we'll be mindful, yes, I am important, my child is important. Let me take help. I was hearing that, CEO Coca-Cola, I forget her name, she said that wherever she needed help, even her house help, like in my case, it was Shobha, she was always there. I would call up Shobha 10 minutes, 15 minutes late. Will you take care? She will take care. So women have to be smart. They need to develop an ecosystem wherein then you can go for a movie, provided you know that you trust the person you've left your child with. And I've always lived with my set of parents and my in-laws. Believe me, they were massive. That's why I became who I am. I traveled the world for my conferences everywhere, because there were these women I knew they loved my children more than me. So that is where we can spend all the time on ourselves. I did that.
Dr. Sandhu, I completely agree there, because we're all talking about the role of grandparents in the support system that enables us to be who we are, right? And of course, while the grandparents are there, I think one community that's increasingly gaining attention and is completely in demand is the nannies, because it's very difficult to get a caretaker who takes care of the children, maybe even better than how we do. We just need to tell them.
This time my son graduated in Canada. Only thing he was finding out, he was not bothered about getting a gift for anybody else. It's like, driver uncle needs a wallet, and he's going around looking for, because that guy was with him, standing outside, waiting for him to come out of tuitions, ensuring he gets hydrated the moment he comes in. And our driver is called Dwarka Ji. I mean, he's more like a respected member. We dare mess with him because he has almost achieved that level in the family. He's there through our thick, through our thin, 30 years, and he's there. So that is what we develop a system. There could be hits and trials. There are situations where we might not land up with the best people. But obviously, we are vigilant and we figure it out. And we are smart women. I mean, obviously, I can't speak for the men, but parents, smart parents, let me be inclusive. We will figure out a way. We figured out corporate world. If we figured out everything, we will figure out. And we will take help wherever it's needed. And our children will be safe and happy. And that's what we envision.
What a wonderful thought.
What's happening in Amritsar? Come back to your hometown which belongs to you,
Is,
Saina.
yeah, it's very nice.
You all three born there.
Sorry, ma'am.
I said, so what's happening to our hometown, Amritsar, where Saina and
Hometown?
me, all of you are born there. We're all
Yes, I know. I asked Saina to visit us again, like it's been 10 years, and see Amritsar again through our eyes, maybe. So yes, Amritsar has a very different ecosystem. I divide it into three because with Oat Foundation, my main priority has always been villages, because I always say no matter how educated I am, I come from that mitti. I am, my grandparents, my great grandparents were farmers, and deep inside, I'm a farmer. No matter, I might have a few degrees that make me speak differently from them, but deep inside, that's why I keep going to the villages again and again. In my tenure as Wikiflow chairperson, every Sunday I was in a village because we were doing preventive healthcare. We dealt with the women, the men, and also with their, panchayats and a lot of things. So Amritsar divided into three, a very modern Amritsar, where we are facing the problem of vaping emerging in a very big way. There we are trying to 31st is coming, 31st May, which is the World No Tobacco Day. And I'm a anti-tobacco crusader and a national mentor for that. Earlier, they used to say, Punjab, tobacco is not a problem. But now with vaping coming in, we have a problem, and we talk about it in different ways on different platforms. Few of them rubbish us. It is safe. Why are you scaring us? They tell me. And hookah, the moment I go into any swanky restaurant, even if it's banned, there are people sitting there, hookah, and hookah is so harmful. Again, I keep writing about it, but I hope I'll be heard one day. The second set is the midsection. They are okay. They are hardworking parents, and interestingly, a lot of competition exams are being cracked by them. They are the ones. If you see our results, they are the ones who've topped. Even the boy has topped from Ram Ashram school here. He's the in India topper, something like that. That kind of fire in the belly. I need to get there. Then comes our total border villages. Border villages has its set of problems, and ma'am is very, very aware that there are problems. Now, what happens? Like, there is a documentary by Rahul Bose, and I always keep going back to it. Now, what happens? It's called, I've forgotten the name. It's on YouTube. So you're a child from a normal household where you don't have enough money. Now you go to the gym. You're good at gym, and they spot you when you are gymming, and you are effective, because most of the drugs were earlier thrown by the people who had a good shot put power in them. They were hurled across. So now you see that your parents, you go back, they're saying you're not getting a job, you're useless, you're worthless. And here's a guy comes in, and they know how to spot. They see a guy smart, good to talk to, and presentable. They were either hired by politicians, and the gangster story came in. And more than me, I'm not an expert, but I've watched all the documentaries of all the gangsters. That what happened, they all have one story. They got into a fight for battle. They got into a fight, then they went to the jail, and that's where they were identified to work for different organizations. So there, once you don't have money, and there's a guy offers, just put this packet, tumhe kuch nahi karna, ye packet idhar se udhar leke jana hai, and you'll get this kind of money. Then comes a motorcycle. From the motorcycle comes a car. The others see what is happening. It was called the glut, I think. Then they want to, the Punjabis by and large, I always say that we are flashier, we are more boisterous, we're full of energy. हम थोड़ा सोचते हैं, but हम अपनी भावनाओं में भी बहुत जल्दी, we are like happy go lucky, that ठीक है अभी देख लेंगे, उसको बोले एक बार दे देंगे तो क्या हो जाएगा? I'll just carry it once and my life is sorted. That motorcycle will come, not realizing that it's a web. And then you get more people. He's coming to the gym dressed up way more smartly. Then the other friend asks, "Ki kya hua? What suddenly happened in your life?" And ma'am, the same thing I saw in a Canada documentary. Both the parents are working. There's this bichara sa bachcha jo school jata hai, wapas aata hai. Then he sees this guy pass by a good vehicle, brandishing those chains, lifestyle. He calls him, "Come here. I'll give you some change, pocket money. Just put that packet from here to there." And that starts the web. And that's how all of it has started. And the energy, and we are big built and everything. And then you exploit it by so many. And we have so many stories of parents saying the child was a champion sportsman, the child was doing so well, but got into lured or something by money, by flashy lifestyle, whatever. So ये हो रहा है, 3 चीजों में बटा हुआ है. Problems हमें हर जगह पे है, पर ज़्यादा
How are the
problems.
parents dealing? How are the parents dealing with it, Dr. Sandhu?
Ma'am, there is one mother. Whenever I see the document, she's lost all her 9 sons to drugs.
Nine.
And yeah, all the sons to drugs. One by one. Imagine the trauma associated. There is this one area in Amritsar where in the whole locality is only young children dying of drugs, young guys, and the parents who are living alone. There are few areas where the children have HIV because of the injected drugs. HCV is emerging. It's really coming up because when we went to the villages, we do this site testing and we get surgeries done for the elders. When they went for routine testing, they were either very high on, they were high diabetes, HCV, HIV, and, they had problems where they were not fit to be, and tuberculosis. So these are the problems emerging when there's drug substance abuse. You are injecting. And the first time I entered a village, I still remember there was this guy with yellow eyes just lying on the road. I got so scared I ran out. And sometimes I interact with them. There's so much they want to leave, and most of them are using drugs which are not very safe. Like, they're not the party drugs, the expensive party drugs, which are still sparing. They are synthetic drugs. And that's where the problem is. They are not very sparing. And the health has gone. And every day the child is selling stuff. Now, my own chowkidar, the guy who comes, is an old man. So he was talking to my son. He says, "You know what happened? My one son got unwell and he had some cardiac problem. All the money went there. The other thing, the whole household was sold by the other son who was a drug addict. Now he has 2 children. Both the sons died. 2 girls, and he has to rear them up. At the age of 80, he's coming to be a guard at night. So we are trying to help the daughters to get education because one wants to be a nurse. And I interacted with her. She was also fooling her father. She'd not given the entrance. So it is complex. Those children want the Instagram life. They also want. Now, one thing I say, I'm not against social media, but everybody wants to be the Ambanis. They've seen what is happening. So everybody wants money now. In our age, believe me, I was blissfully unaware. I used to get clothes on Diwali, and I never knew that I had to be dressed up a certain way. Now little girls are, little children are shown carrying branded bags, branded dresses. Probably they don't even know. But my little granddaughter calls, like, she doesn't even know how to say Louis Vuitton. But she's talking about it. I was like, I was appalled. It's like, so with the good things also come. And like I'll tell Deepa what happened, and even Saina. My grandchildren watch Coco Melon. And in these Coco Melons also, there are these little porn thingies that come in, which are suggestive. So you have to be so careful. They are nicely interspersed, and they just come up if the parent is not watching. So the availability of everything has become super. Everything is available. And then there are AI prompts. One thing you see, if the child by chance clicks, everything will be that. The AI prompt will ensure that you are a PhD in that particular thing. So that is the problem.
How are the parents dealing with it?
Parents have a problem. If you see, that's what I was thinking, that there should be something for the mothers. The parents are not dealing very well when you lose your children. And what has recently happened, if you've read the news, we don't know what happened, but a final year medical student was badly killed in a PG in Patiala. So there were rods that went across his neck, his arms were twisted, and it was death by torture by don't know who. Somebody says his own friend who come to stay with him in PG. So I saw the parents devastated because you have one child, the only child. They were very happy he cleared his exams and he went there. And ma'am, even in the medical colleges, dental colleges, the engineering colleges, when so many children get together, there are problems and parents have no clue. And as an educator for 25 years, I taught in a dental school. And I always believe there are three personalities of a child. One is for the parents, what they project in front of parents. The other is what they project to the teachers. The real personality is what they are in front of their peers. I called a child for a parent teacher meeting, because the child was lagging behind. When I saw the child, I couldn't recognize her because she was dressed up so differently. I said, "No, you're not in my batch." She says, "No, ma'am." My junior said, "She is." I said, "No, I don't even remember you." Then she told me her name. So that is the problem. The masks, in order, because they know parent ko bolenge. Like recently, today the news was that a father killed the daughter with a chain of the cycle because her mark sheet was a problem in some state. It was not in Punjab. So there is some always a scare factor wherein your parent has expectations you will not tell. जैसे हम करते थे ना 38 आए हैं उसको हम 88 बना के we would get it home. So that is what the real is in front of the peers. Now we don't know how it's going to shape up, but everywhere. And I don't know. That is my question to everyone. What do parents do? How do we deal with it when there's so much happening out? And kitni bhi friendship ho ek parent or child ki, there's always a little barrier where they want to impress the parent that we are doing absolutely fine. And some children say, like my son, I'm a dentist, had a toothache in Canada, and he didn't tell me. I said, "Why didn't you tell?" He says, "You would have spent more money and we can't afford that kind of treatment. I would go back to India. That's why I didn't tell you." So he had a own reason that my mother is foolish enough to spend the money and he didn't want that to happen. So parent और उसके बीच में कहीं ना कहीं, I don't know if there are parents who are, that what would say mindfully they're bringing up the children and the child tells everything. Even I, for few things, I do hide from my mom कि वो tension करेंगे, stress करेंगे if I'm unwell. She's older now. So how would the parent know what is the real? Now those parents say our child was absolutely fine, had no friends, but if a gruesome murders happened, something was there which the parents were not aware. They talked to him the night before his death. If there was a hint, they would have protected him. So what do parents do if they don't know what's happening in a child's life? All the peers will not tell, and you don't know what kind of peers you have. Sometimes the peers influence you more than your parents, because parents to kahenge padla, be something, be neat, follow the hygiene tips, this, that. Peers bolenge, yaar, it's okay. Ek bar marijuana le le, dekh teri zindagi. My own son has been offered multiple times and he's asthmatic. He says, yaar, mujhe waise hi maar do aap. That's what he tells them. Everybody's like, yaar, ek peg kuch nahi hota. One drag. And then they go like, "Oh, mama's boy, you need to tell." And that's another thing that happens. You are a confirming child. They go like, "Aha, go please your mom. Go, mama's boy." So it is very hard. I feel बच्चों के लिए भी बहुत मुश्किल है, parents के लिए तो है. So we have to find and devise. I know that's why we are discussing. So
it is a severe research after research has proved that drug abuse is peer pressure driven. Very huge. My own PhD thesis exactly proved it. It's a peer pressure and curiosity. Two things work, and experimentation. Three things come up: experimentation, curiosity obviously is interlinked with experimentation, and peer pressure. Now, what is the role of the teachers? What's happening with the teachers in the classes?
Ma'am, teachers when we were there was very different. We were like, now you were asking me one thing, Deepa, one habit. So I was very fond of cricket. So we had a mother superior, Olivetta. So she told me, she came to the library, she says, child, you will ruin yourself. They will get all the money. And I was in ninth standard. And if you'll keep watching, they'll become heroes and you'll be a zero. Till date, I haven't watched a cricket match. Till date. Because it's not that my brother makes fun of me that Sister Olivetta is not there. You can watch the match. But it's not about that. There's something it got driven into me that in order to be something, I'm not going to waste my time and I'm going to, not watch that. So she told me, she says, so many men running after one ball. And what are you doing, child? So that is what, but teachers now I've been interacting. I had few camps. I go for dental camps and I go for anti-tobacco. The teachers are feeling helpless because the parents would not let teachers say anything. We used to be, I don't know whether I can say on the platform, our Sister Olivetta used to be Knuckles, our history teacher, used to just be like that in town, used to go there. I think that discipline, but now even if I say something, I would tell your child is not, though I have trained dentists, I would say not, doing well. The mother or father says, no, she's absolutely fine. You're being too harsh with her. So the teachers have stopped. They said, we are scared because the parents come and defend. They said, "Aap kyun hamare bachche ko discourage kar rahe ho?" And it's almost 80% I've been interacting with teachers. Is it zamana badal gaya, like I keep saying. I'm not saying that corporal punishment is okay. No, it's not. But somewhere an authority is needed because that's a child. Whether it's the authority of the teacher, and even parents want to be friends. Parents, and I have seen videos, I won't lie, on my Instagram stories, parents vaping with the children who's 14-year-old, parents offering drinks to children, and I zoom up to see that is that really? No, it's just a celebratory champagne. It is just when a child is caught in the school with a vape, it's a nice bedazzled vape which the mom got from Singapore or dad got, and they are showing it off. That's like, better than yours. It's more expensive. So parents को थोड़ा सा allow करना चाहिए teachers को कि वो अपनी authority वापस ले ले. That is what even in the dental schools and medical schools, they were so strict. Now we are not, because you don't know. There have been a couple of incidents where the child went and harmed himself or herself. And then the names of the teachers are written in those FIR reports. So now, somewhere out there, we are scared. The parents are scared, the children, the teachers are scared, and the grandparents are grumbling. Keh do inko kuch to, kuch nahi hoega. But in the evolving words, I'm not an expert on, on this subject. I'm just learning. What I'm asking is there should be a way in which there's a balance. Imbalance जो हुआ है, बच्चों से डर रहे हैं. Everybody in the house is, don't say anything to him. No, he'll feel bad. And then he's going to sulk. And then, and then every time the child is angry, load him with gifts. The trucks and the things and bribing. We were never bribed. We were never. And I think we became who we are because of the discipline that we were.
क्या करना है? I think it is coming down to one thing कि हम अपना अपना घर संभालें, अपने अपने बच्चे, है ना?
हाँ जी. पर हेल्प लेके, अपना अपना नहीं, थोड़ा इकट्ठे होके, take the help of whoever, whatever person can help you. वो थोड़ा अपना एक me mind से we them करके, if we care for their children, they will care for our children. थोड़ा सा जो आपने initially बोला था कि jealousy or competition, उसके 81% आ गए, तुम्हारे 62, तो क्या हो गया? कुछ नहीं होता. मेरे 10th के मार्क्स मुझे पता ही नहीं है मैम क्या है ना, +2 के. I cleared the entrance, it was okay. मैम, और मेरे सबसे जो नलायक बच्चे थे डेंटिस्ट्री में, आज उनके 17 क्लिनिक्स है इंटरनेशनली, और जो मेरे सबसे इंटेलिजेंट बच्चे थे वो प्रोफेसर इन हेड्स मेरी तरह लग गए. So the फर्क is that those children who were daredevils, or they had done so well, and I'm like, really? Is they clear कर लिया? They said, ma'am, I have 17 clinics and I run a conglomerate of dental clinics in US. So
we've discussed a very
Ajay, let's ask Ajay. Ajay,
Ah.
culturally, two different places. Is there a cultural difference? Tell us what's happening in Abu Dhabi or UAE or in that
Yeah.
part of the world.
No, I think this is all really shocking to me. The state where I'm coming from, maybe I'm not aware of what's happening in Kerala now. Maybe Deepa can tell us more. But in Abu Dhabi, we are all in a very protected environment. So access of such things for children is impossible to happen. So I'm really shocked beyond words, and I'm not able to even say anything about or comment about this. I never knew such things happen in places like when doctors told their experience about the Amritsar. It's such a shocking thing for me, and I think this is more than individual issue or a parental issue. This is a societal thing that we all need to talk more expressive, and find a common ground where we can try to educate our children, our parents, and teachers. It's a combined effort, I would say.
Let's be the
Clearly
village.
see- I clearly see a hand of collapse of governance here. No fear of law. I think, see how it's having a cascading effect. It's a lack of governance enforcement effect. Letting drugs happen, supply happen, and that's how consumption is happening. I think, see what a bad, maybe collapse of law enforcement happening. And once the availability of drugs, there's a demand and a supply. And it's hurting. And teachers are helpless, parents are helpless, and parents out of helplessness are becoming a part of because they're helpless. It's like throwing up your hands. Hum kare kya? I think we are not realizing how important good governance helps in good parenting.
Yeah,
How good tough law enforcement helps good parenting,
true.
and
Ma'am,
also good
recently-
education and good teaching, isn't it? I see from the story of Dr. Sandhu, particularly what's happening in Punjab, and it's known that Punjab is a victim of a lot of drug abuse. It's been a collapse where terrorism came in and drugs came in. That's what happened. And look, it's a holy city. Amritsar
And also-
is a holy city. Sorry,
No, please stop.
carry on. Karan, yes, Ajay.
No, I think it's also, I think the way we define things, if you see, in early or the late 20th century, hygiene, the definition of hygiene was simpler, or the self-care was much more simpler than today. I mean, it was about cleanliness, routine, discipline. Families even followed habits that became part of daily life without much external century. Self-care has become more complex, like consumer products, marketing, awareness campaigns. All of this have transformed the way we think about self-care, our understanding of self-care. So one side, even the new generation is afraid of shaking hands, and we have fear of normal human interaction. And on the other side, the young generation start vaping, they start using drugs. So it's totally contradicting. That's what I wanted to say.
Maybe
Sir,
they-
you're right, sir. So when I talk to youngsters these days, I find myself talking to them about lust and greed and anger. And you take a choice. I tell them, here, it's your pick. I can't force you. Nobody can force you. You want to live a life जिसमें होश ही नहीं है, or you want to live a life जिसमें सिर्फ आप बेहोशी वाली जिंदगी जियोगे, और एक दिन आप जैसे भी सरवाइव करना है. बट मैम, एक और कर वन मोर थिंग इन दीपा जी, जो आपने बोला, वी कम बैक टू, when you sow a seed, you can't dig it up every day to see is it growing. You keep giving it nourishment, you keep giving it your best, and then surrender. वो छोटा सा सैपलिंग बाहर आता है, you can't pull it and say आज ही पेड़ बन जा. एंड यू कांट पुल इट कि तो मैं एक्स्ट्रा डोज ऑफ नरिशमेंट दे रही हूँ, तो ये अभी 2 दिन में क्यों नहीं बड़ा हो रहा ये पेड़। और वो जब पेड़ बन जाता है तो फिर हम रोज उसको देखेंगे इसके फल क्यों नहीं उग रहे, और अब फिर फल गिर नहीं रहे। यही बच्चे हैं। आप अपना बेस्ट दे सकते हो, आप अपने तरीके से सारे संस्कार दे सकते हो, आप सब कुछ दे सकते हो, but they come with their own destiny, they come with their own sanskaras, they're going to come with their own reactions, they're going to come with their own free will and choices. You can't pull them up, they can't grow before time, they can't learn before time. So my question also is कि मैम प्रिवेंशन में क्या आता है कि हम उनको पूरी ड्यूअलिटीज ऑफ लाइफ के बारे में बता दें, क्योंकि फिर हम ये भी करते हैं कि बच्चों को इतना नहीं बताना, बच्चों को जिंदगी की ये हकीकत के बारे में नहीं बताना, ये नहीं बताना, ये नहीं बताना। मैम बताना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि अगर हम प्रिवेंशन की बात कर रहे हैं तो हम प्रिवेंट कर किससे रहे हैं? हम प्रिवेंशन की तो बात कर रहे हैं, बट व्हाट आर वी प्रिवेंटिंग देम फ्रॉम? If I'm talking to a young girl to take care of her body, I have to tell her, what are you protecting yourself from? If I'm talking to a young growing boy about what does being a man mean to you, I have to tell him that what all the weaknesses can lead you to. So we can't brush it under the carpet. और फिर हर घर को अपना घर अपने अपने बच्चे संभाल ले। मैंने आपको शुरू में ही बोला था, ये इंटेग्रिटी की बात है, ये ऑनेस्टी की बात है, ये सिंसियरिटी की बात है, ये मॉरल्स और एथिक्स की बात है मैम, जो हर घर से शुरू होगी। एंड हम पौधे को खींच नहीं सकते। जी मैम, जी मैम।
Dr. Sandhu, what kind of, while we have a proliferation of drugs in the youth there, and parenting becomes a very major challenge, undoubtedly, what's happening on physical relationships in teenagers? Is that effective? Is that rampant, or is that hidden? What is it? Is getting exposed? It's like leading to POXO cases, because 18 to 17, below 18 as a teenager, if you have indulgent, so even if they are young, it's like Cupid travels. So can you tell us if that was also happening a challenge, or we're not talking about it? Physical relationships amongst teenagers.
Yeah, we are not really. See, I'm not an expert on that, but I do remember a gynecologist friend of mine saying that now the teenagers are getting into physical relationship much more earlier. Now, what was happening was, again, because of, if you'd seen a couple of cases where children got into problem because, over the phone, somebody's told that you pose a certain way, and those pictures came out. Those things keep coming, and I think that's universally happening now, because the child is very vulnerable, not knowing or their hidden cameras somewhere where the child has been taken. Those I'm not an expert, and I really don't know. But yes, I know from a gynecologist friend of mine, she says that age has certainly decreased, and now girls are getting into, it's more something called, a term called, which I've heard, is friends with benefits. It is something which is happening even in the professional colleges. That is something nothing common to Amritsar. That is what is something that is happening the world over now. Women are more like, like when you travel, it is what is very normal, like because I was the Secretary General of Asia, and there was this conversation happening. So my bosses are like, so what's new? Well, why are you talking about it? They said, our children always live together. They have children without, getting married. My daughter's not married, and she has a child out of the relationship, and then they moved apart. Now there's another guy. And what they say is, yeah, we Indians had values, but now because of the West and because of the influence and because the world has somehow become without borders, and even our Indians living abroad, that there are different set of values, which when I went there was little, difficult to digest. But then you realize that they've also moved on. So this thing, is more like universally, nothing extra in Amritsar. But what is happening, what you're seeing in Amritsar, you've seen a couple of cases where women were responsible for hiring some men and getting their husbands killed, or but that is again happening somehow all over India, where women, if she's not happy, and we've had a couple of cases with but now what is surfacing these days are dowry deaths or something. So there was a case of two Rupinders, I think you must have heard, where the girl got her husband killed, the other, she got it with her guy friend and got her husband. So both were Rupinders, Where the women are in a very different. Recently, we had a case of a woman who hired a henchman to get. It was a case of Chandigarh. So overall, women are like becoming more like, it's me, my decisions. They might not be conforming to the Punjabi set of values, but that is what is happening everywhere. There is this change of narrative.
Dr. Sandhu, I was curious about teenage abortions, if they're happening, teenage abortions. And how
So when
are
my
the-
daughter was
are they
posted,
surfacing,
she's a doctor.
or
Yeah.
are the gynecologists obliging and not reporting? See, that's where teenage abortion a challenge for the parents, and how are the doctors coping, or is it all being up?
This is something which is not, I cannot answer on this, reason being I don't have the true statistics, but I do hear, because my daughter she's a doctor, and when she was working, this is some cases come where the children, where these girls try to get those, they try to induce self-abortions, or they've done something. So I only have some knowledge because I have no clue about this. I just have one friend who's a gynecologist, and whatever my daughter told me. So I don't have real statistics on this particular, but although I think everywhere, if you see, that is certainly on the rise, but I don't have the statistics for that.
Mummy, these things do exist. We all are aware that this does exist.
It's become a different world.
But we have to keep working with our youngsters to keep bringing them back to life. We have to work with them to bring them back to life. आपको मैं बताती हूँ प्रॉब्लम कहाँ आ रही है. जो भी इस स्पेस में जाके काम करता है ऑफ रिफॉर्म, वो खुद को भी खतरे में डाल रहा है. A lot of people don't want to work in the space of reform because there is a lobby that does not want reform. We can't give up on our youth. We can't give up on our children. If there is a section of society that's luring them and they don't have a strong mind of their own, they don't have that strong will, there must be a section of society that pulls them back and brings them back to life. And not call it reform, call it bringing them back to life. But that section of society that's working tirelessly for bringing them back to life must be protected. That section of society of parents and teachers must dominate.
That is why places like UAEs are safer places to live.
Yeah.
Because of tough law enforcement. See, it's clear governance, administration. So that's where I think when that collapses, political leadership collapses, culture gets polluted, who suffer most is the youth, the next generations.
Because I am telling you personally this, that social workers, social reformers, people who work in the fields, people who want to reform, you have to put your hand deep down inside. They are not safe. They're not safe. You need a lot of courage to go out there and now work.
So how afraid are they of the police in Amritsar, Dr. Sandhu? Are parenting, do the parents go back and take the help of police, law enforcement? Do they?
Ma'am, there's a section who tells a constable who's caught for this thing. There's like, okay, do you know who's my dad? That always runs. But now they are scared because now they become kind of tough because there were a lot of weapons but the police became very, very strict with the weapon, weapon use. By earlier, they used to post pictures of weapons and shooting, and bragging about weapons. But now anybody, even there were certain girls who got into trouble. Anybody using a weapon and putting it on social media, they are going to they do a case, under that, whatever, I don't know the section under which they put, but a lot of people got into trouble. Then even for drinking and driving, they're becoming more. Now Amritsar's introduced a very nice thing, and that is called the Chalan thing. Now they have the cameras watching. Yesterday I saw everybody was behaving, everybody was standing at the back. Nobody was trying to, and the police officer lady who's in charge is very strict here for traffics. She's one iron lady. And I was like, she must be happy because yesterday, because they know they'll have to pay money. They should have done that before. But
That's
police,
right.
though, I think even if the police guy coming anywhere near me, I'm still scared. Like I told you, I was scared of coming onto the platform. That's scared to have. I'm uniform ka scared. If I'm even on the airport, I get scared from those. Anybody in uniform, it kind of puts that. Police se to dar abhi bhi. I think they do their job in spite of, if you see, even if you see the reports and all, there are officers who still go across political lines and they maintain the integrity, and they will do what they have to do. And because recently there was a case of somebody who went and fired at a girl's house on Valentine's Day, and the police didn't care whoever he was connected to. They have registered a case and they put him behind the bars because he was also a drug addict and he was wanting to come back again and harm the girl. So they didn't care. A lot of separish, lot of word, but the police didn't budge. And I'm thankful. I think the services are the ones, the army are the police. They're probably keeping some system in the country. I've always believed that. And we, bow down to them because even they, so many of the times, the police will be like, okay, release him, release him. They don't pick up the phone. I know that. Couple of friends of mine, they're like, iska phone उठाया नहीं, politician का phone आ रहा है, क्या बोले? बच्चे को छोड़ो, हमने छोड़ना नहीं है, इसको 2 दिन तो रखेंगे, एटलीस्ट एक दिन, अगला संडे है, इसको रहने दो, कोई बात. We'll say कि sir busy थे, phone नहीं उठाया. So they are doing their bit, and it's because of them that children are scared. Children will be scared of the people in uniform because they know their repercussions. And पुलिस से तो सबको डर लगता है.
तो मैम ये बता दो, बिकॉज फिर हमारा प्रोग्राम कंक्लूड होगा, पर जाते जाते बता दो, जैसे दीपा जी हैज लवली 2 young boys, we all work with young children, what are the preventive health measures and health hygiene जो कि आप जो इतना काम करते हैं हेल्थ की फील्ड में, what are all the what is prevention and self care when it comes to health, sustainable preventive measures?
Yes, ma'am. So very simple things. Like I told you, the parent is the first healthcare provider, the first person who's going to inculcate. And obviously we can come into health. It starts with when you get up in the morning. There's one habit which I always say as a dentist, please brush your teeth after major meals. That is because otherwise, if you've brush your teeth, had your breakfast, gone, that is of no use because food will stick into your oral cavity for the longest time. Same when you take the simple things like take a bath, clip your nails. I think that everybody knows. But also taking care of, not only your oral cavity, like if you're putting things like gutka or tobacco or even erica nut, which is a supari. Now, one thing I've always crusaded against is using supari in your day-to-day life because we even give it to youngsters. Now, supari causes a disease called submucous fibrosis. Your mouth closes. So, and a lot of concoctions, those mouth fresheners that you get are not the best thing that we should be having. And sometimes we give it to our children also. And obviously, be the role models. If a parent is vaping or alcohol, or smoking, they say that, there's something called passive smoking. I think that is something I talk about a lot. But you are watching TV and the parent is smoking. There's a young child roaming around. COVID was good for us. Smoking dropped because ek sharam thi and you couldn't smoke in front of the parents. You could go out and it was less available. We were very happy in COVID because the smoking fell down. And basically also the emotional, like Sir's already talked, is today it's just not about physically cleaning yourself, and also making the girls aware of the menstrual hygiene, which we need to talk about. The bad touch, the good touch, I think comes in prevention only. And telling them, to be aware of their bodies, what happens, like you already said, Saina, that the girls and boys need to know there are going to be changes and how do they take care of it. Then comes the digital. Let's stay away. Every time the child is not eating, the mother gives the Cocomelon phone and the child is eating. And that time you don't even know what you're eating. We all, even the adults, you're watching TV, you're eating. So stay away, watch TV, enjoy with the family, but don't be the dependent. वो जो 18 तो नहीं, 12 hours everybody's seeing reels, everybody's an influencer. All of us, जब time मिलता है उसके बाद reel देख लो. We all do that. And then comes the emotional, where the garbage, where the child has to feel safe. There we have to still devise how the children feel safe, happy, like a happy parent. Like I told you, when I came from school, my mom was there. I was there to talk to her. So at least talk to your children. And remember, whenever a child is being aggressive, or the child is bedwetting, or there's a sudden behavioral change, please observe your children. And I've learned it from my children. They said, please do not always say what you want to say. Please use a filter. Parents need to use a filter, even if it's the closest relationship. So that prevention the parents have to do. Constantly comparing your children, constantly telling them ये करो वो करो. और सबसे बड़ी जो problem है, वो मेरे बच्चे बोलते हैं, I'll just say कि people who have achieved in life, उनके बच्चों के ऊपर एक constant pressure होता है मैम, कि आपने उनके जैसा या उनसे वो हंस रहे हैं, या उनसे बड़ा बनना है. तो वो एक, my children say that you don't even know, you put a silent pressure on us. My daughter, the other day, she called up from Canada. She said, you don't even know. People expect me to do this just because I'm your daughter. What am I supposed to do? I said, darling, I cannot help that. You were given to me and you were birthed by me. But now, another thing, what everybody told me, and I believe in it, that they are our children. They've come through us, but I think let them be. And let them find their own pathway. And everybody doesn't have to be an achiever. It's okay. This I learned the hardest way. It's okay. Let them be. Let them do what gives them peace. If they're happy with suki roti, it's fine. If they're happy with, they want caviar on the plate, fine. Then they have to work for it. For us parents, we only have to provide them the roti and the graduation till there. उसके ऊपर आप tell them, आपने bread लगाना, jam लगाना, आपकी मर्जी, आपने peanut butter, आपने caviar, और आपने पता नहीं कौन सी gluten free. Please, I'm not there. But now you go out into the world, and I am officially an empty nester now. And this last word, we expect a lot from our parents. Again, I always say that because I'm a parent now of elder children. But we also have to understand that just humans, they tried their best. When we didn't come with a manual. We didn't come, this is maybe when my children are hearing, we didn't come with a manual. हमने अपनी सारी जितना इवॉल्व होके भी अपना सारी एनर्जी लगा के आपको try to give our best. We fumbled. I would admit there were so many times I was like maybe ashamed a few times of what I did. But over the time we evolved up a Manye grandparent. And it is amazing to see the children doing the same thing to them. So this will continue, and I think we will evolve one day with platforms like this. And I have to watch the other 30 episodes to learn more. Watch a few. Yeah.
दीपा जी, what are you feeling? दीपा जी, आप सुनते रहे हो ये सारा
I
कुछ?
was listening. It's so beautiful to listen to Dr. Sandhu. You have great storytelling skills. The way you narrate, it's beautiful to see, to listen. No, I just want to say that it's scary out there. The world is scary. And as parents, I think the only thing we can do, because even mothers are getting busy, parents are busy, the only thing we can do, and one thing that I always tell is that, there is this old time belief that, maa ka khana, maa ke haath se banaya hua khana, all of that, right? That is there. I mean, there should be certain things. But when you're working, like, you're working like not even 9 to 5, like 9 to 8 and all of that. And then the remaining whatever hours you have before your child goes to bed, Do you go to the kitchen and cook, or do you spend time with the child?
No, no,
That is
Deepa, you get that household help I told you, Shobha. In my case, I never cooked.
correct.
Get Shobha, get the Barikaji, get your
Yeah.
grandparents. Be smart. You should know how to have the ecosystem work for you.
Exactly. Take support wherever possible. And because the emotional support you can give your children, you cannot hire someone for that.
That
only
is important. Only
Yes.
give emotional support. Yeah.
Yes. So
Be
that you
guilty
should-
for nothing else. Be guilty
Yeah.
for nothing else. Yeah.
And also, just before ending, just one thing I would like to completely agree with Senaji is that, people who try to, these boundaries are disappearing, and people who try to impose boundaries are being targeted in a really, disturbing way, because they've been called names, they're branded in a different way. Because I myself have a name like that here in Kerala, and if there are even Keralites listening, they call me Kulastri because I talk about boundaries and borders. So people kind of, they get into that sarcastic mode. They kind of brand you as somebody because you talk about the boundaries that are slowly blurring, and we're losing it. So I think it's important, and we need to save those boundaries back. And I'm a huge
Now,
advocate.
thank you, Deepa, for this, because I think one thing I forgot in preventive is that let's teach our children boundaries. Anybody by blood who's misbehaving with them, they don't have to tolerate, which we tolerated in our generation. Any relative, anybody who's been mean to them, they can go. It's okay, and that's where. Thank you for the tip of a boundary. Very
Yeah.
important for an emotionally relaxed.
थैंक यू। पर जाते जाते मैं एक छोटा सा आपको वर्ड बोलूंगी, लेट्स बी वेरी वेरी एक्चुअली माइंडफुल एंड
Yes.
वाइज, बिकॉज एनीथिंग जो आप करने जा रहे हैं इट शुड नॉट बी रेकलेस। देखिए, स्पिरिचुअलिटी इज द विजडम ऑफ द हाईएस्ट ऑर्डर। We have to be wise, not reckless, not foolish. We have to be very wise.
Let
So-
me conclude with a mantra for the
Ji.
teenagers and the parents. It's called the
Ji.
ABCD of freedom. ABCD of freedom. ABCD of freedom. A for ability. Give them an ability, take them towards an ability. B is boundaries, because you were talking about boundaries. They should know the boundaries. If they get to know the boundaries, you are making them teach to be very well preventive. C is make them learn, sit down and listen to their conscience, because the conscience speaks, and that will only come when you teach them silence to listen to their inner voice. And D is for duty, a sense of responsibility. What is your sense of responsibility? So if we as parents give all our youth children the ABCD of freedom, there is freedom, but there's freedom in all this: ability, boundaries, conscience, and sense of duty. I think we've done better parenting.
Jai Hari Bol.
Amritsar said in the next lecture or interaction, beautiful ABCD is taken, ma'am. It's gone here.
Yeah, I thought I could bring all of your points into one mantra called the ABCD of freedom.
थैंक यू
Beautiful.
मामा, थैंक यू। जय धारी
Thank
माँ।
you.
जय सर, थैंक यू। आज आप हम सबके बीच में थे। Listening to- Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Ajay's presence gives us an international perspective.
सर,
Why? Yeah.
आपकी वजह से तो हम, सर, आपकी बुक की वजह से, आपके काम की वजह से, you are encouraging us to do this, sir. You're encouraging
Yeah, I
us
started
to
from mindful
Sir,
parenting.
I'm planning to get your book and go through it, because that's my next,
Okay.
and I'll be getting in touch with you after I read the book.
Yeah, please.
And
Thank you.
ma'am, Deepa ji does a lot of work with children and parents, and Lifeology also does a lot of work.
I like to get in touch with her, because children is something I deal with. Recently, yesterday only, we did a CPR workshop. I mean, the children were so enthusiastic. It was in a college in Tarantaran, school in Tarantaran.
हाँ
And
जी,
day
हाँ जी।
to day before, we were in a government senior secondary school. But very enthusiastic children.
Just
And-
find out if Lifology is also in Punjab. Ajay, is Lifology also opened
No.
an outlet in Punjab? Has it?
Yeah, we have presence in North.
सर,
Presence in North.
नॉर्थ में है, नॉर्थ में है।
No, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we can reach.
ठीक
So
है
that
सर।
is
Lifology will be very good for parents and for teachers and students.
Yes, ma'am.
जी सर, जी सर,
Thank
जी मैम, थैंक यू।
Sandhu, we'll be in touch.
थैंक यू।
Thank you.
Wonderful meeting everyone.
Ji,
Thank
ji.
you.
We'll
Thank you
send
so
you the
much.
numbers.
Thank you.
We'll send you all the numbers. Ji,
Okay.
thank you. Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Ji.
Bye-bye.
Ma, keep all our children safe and protected.
Yes.
Thank you.
God will be kind.
Ji,
Yeah.
ji. Thank you. Thank you.